You did it. You landed a meeting with your potential sponsor. Now, what do? Oftentimes, organizations, they come to me and they are really trying to figure out when they secure that first meeting, what do they do? How do they navigate that conversation so that they can build the relationship well enough to go ahead and make their ask? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the things that you should be focusing on when you actually secure a meeting with a sponsor and have an opportunity to share your vision, share what it is share the opportunity that you have, that you want a partner to come on board with you. Now, I will take some time every now and then to look at my computer because that's where my notes are. So pardon me in advance. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about the LAB method. And the LAB method really does take you through what is necessary when you're on that call so that you could be effective and efficient with the time that you have to connect with the sponsor. But you can leave that meeting understanding the next steps that you need to take in order to make sure that the pitch that you're going to give to a sponsor is strong and that it aligns with what they want and what they need based on the conversation that you've had. So how do you turn that meeting into a yes? We're going to be talking about that within the structure of the LAB method. And we're going to be talking about some of the questions that you would be asking during your call with a potential sponsor. Now, there are several things that you must do in order to ensure that you can lock in a sponsorship deal. Now, there's a bunch of things. I'm going to kind of cover a few because I want these videos to be snapshot short. You can kind of take and glean the information and run with it to see a difference in the efforts of your sponsorship streams of income coming to your organization. So the LAB method stands for listen, align, and boldly ask. So we're going to take a deeper dive into each of these letters as we understand really what does that look like in practicality when you're in a meeting with a potential sponsor in order to be able to get the information that you need to get. So it's a very simple, it's a very effective strategy. I've personally used it. I've also coached clients on how to use this same method to be able to help them understand what can I glean so that I make sure that my pitch is strong. So let's talk about listen. Listen is the first one because you want to listen to that sponsor's needs, wants, and their desires. When you get on the call with a sponsor, you don't want to just spill out everything and every opportunity that you have that you want them to be a part of. You want to really open up space to learn about their sponsorship program and listen for the needs, wants, and desires of that brand as you are also thinking through while they're talking the ways that you can help them meet their goal. One of the things nonprofits have to move into this year and years to come is really having the mindset that you are the solution for sponsors and brands that are going to come in partnership with you. They might be your solution financially, but you're their solution in terms of being able to get them in front of the audience that they need, being able to even be a thought partner as well as it relates to ensuring that they can have access to the audience and the opportunities to be able to market. Now, if you've around me for any amount of time, you know that I always talk about sponsorship is not a donation, it is a marketing tool. So when you think about the value of a nonprofit and you being a solution to a sponsor, you have to really truly think about how can I leverage the event that I'm hosting or the opportunity that I'm hosting to allow this sponsor to gain access to the audience that I've built trust and cultivate some subject matter expertise with. So listening is the first thing. You want to listen to their needs, wants, and desires. Now, sponsorship should feel like a partnership and not a transaction. When it feels like just transactional and one-sided, you're doing it absolutely wrong. And so as you move forward in this year, years to come, I want you to always be mindful of if this feels like a mutual win-win for all parties that are involved in closing this deal, but not just closing this deal, but going beyond the closed deal to more sustainable long-term partnerships. So I want you to start asking, what are the company's current marketing and community engagement goals? These are questions that you should be asking when you're going into those meetings with sponsors to understand what are their marketing goals, how do they want to engage with the community, what has worked well for them by partnering with nonprofit organizations. What do they deem or define as success of a sponsorship opportunity that they've signed on? You want to be able to kind of understand that thing, right? One, because you want to be able to present something that will help them meet those goals and their marketing objectives. But then you also want to be able to make sure that you are capturing the metrics that will help them understand the success of the partnership or the opportunity that they've come on board with your organization for. So you're going to want to find out what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, whether that means brand awareness, they're trying to achieve positioning themselves as thought leaders within the particular industry. Maybe they're trying to change their perception of their brand within a particular population. Maybe they just want to boost their social capital at your networking event, whatever that might look like. You want to understand what their goals are. You want to understand who is their ideal audience. A brand may have multiple different services or product lines that cater to several different types of people. So you want to be able to understand, based on their goals, what product or services do you want to promote at events similar to what we're pitching to you, and who's the ideal target audience for those products or those services. You also want to understand, if they've sponsored events before in the past, and you want to understand what has worked well and what has not worked well, because people will be really honest. Let me tell you, I've been in meetings before, even meetings where, I've supported an organization, given them thousands of dollars, and they did not execute any sponsorship benefits. But then they got new leadership that came around and they're asking, well, what can we partner again? And it's like, actually, we can consider it, but we're going to tread lightly because of the history that we've had with your organization repeatedly not fulfilling sponsorship brand benefits. So you want to be able to understand what worked well with sponsorships that they've done in the past, not only with your organization, especially if you're new to the org, but also with nonprofits in general, because there could be some damaged relationships out there or some mistrust when it comes to working with nonprofit organizations. So by you understanding that, you can avoid falling into those traps and perpetuating, these same behaviors, but you also can understand how you can stand out amongst other nonprofits by just leveling up the service and the excellence in which you execute the sponsorship partnership. So one of the things that I want you to understand is when you're in these meetings, it's really important for you to understand their language, understand how they talk, and mirror their language. Use some of the verbiage as it aligns with your brand. You should have already done some due diligence on the front end to understand there's some alignment with both brands, yourself as well as them, to understand their values, their audience, to be able to really talk that language. If they care about animals, you got to be able to talk that language. If they care about health access, you got to be able to talk that language. If they care about political landscapes and advocacy work, you've got to be able to talk that language and talk it boldly within the confounds of what your organization does. So listen to their needs, their wants, and their desires is going to be critical for making sure these meetings are effective and efficient in terms of what you build out after that meeting. Now, if you've, move into, after you listen to what they need, then you want to make sure that you are aligning your offer to their goals. This is just like hitting a target. If you think about a bullseye, and let's say this bullseye, you want to hit that target right in the middle of the bullseye, right? But if you're, having conversations with sponsors and they're telling you what they need, they want, and they desire, but then you're hitting outside of the bullseye, that can be frustrating. They can clearly see that maybe this brand, this organization is not aligned. So we're going to not move forward with it. So when you're listening to them, you then want to align what you're offering based on their goals and based on their needs. And it doesn't mean you need to completely change all things for all brands, but it means that what you lean into, even as you're pitching and having a conversation with them, you are really speaking to the language and you're really speaking to what they said that they needed based off of their internal goals. So you're going to tailor those sponsorship opportunities to match their needs. Now, we are moving into a industry in a lane where brands really do value customizable packages. Now, there's still some brands out there that are open to packages that are pretty standard, and that's okay. I think you should have that. But I also think you should have in mind how to customize as well, just in case you need to use one package or the other. So when you think about customizing based on their needs, you want to make sure that you're aligning those brand exposure opportunities in a way that will help that brand that's going to potentially come on as a sponsor get the maximum exposure and engagement with the audience of your event that they can possibly get. So instead of just presenting a generic sponsorship deck, say, since your goals are X, Y, and Z, here's how we believe this particular event, this particular audience of this event can help you meet these goals, right? You want to be able to kind of make that connection. So ways you want to align their offer, obviously customizing benefits. They may not be the same for everybody. There might be some overlap. Some things are the same, like logo placement, right? That might be the same for everybody, but not everyone's going to get a breakout speaking session. Not everyone's going to be able to get a 15, 30-second commercial. Not everyone's going to be able to build a specific type of activation on site. Like, you might want to customize some of those benefits. Offer some exclusivity. Especially for people that are paying, top dollar for your sponsorship opportunities, offer some exclusivity, meaning they're not going to be crowded by other brands that come on board. They get to stand out amongst a crowd of other sponsors that are supporting your organization. So that exclusivity is going to be very, very important. This can look like offering an exclusive branding rights or naming rights for your wellness lounge, or for VIP lounge, or for a particular stage of your festival, whatever that might look like for the event that you're going to be hosting. And then of course you always want to use data. Data is going to be your best friend. And again, if you've been around me for any amount of time, I'm going to talk about data. Data is huge, it's critical, and you need to make sure that you understand your data, because your data is part of your selling point. And so you want to be able to say it with strength and understand and lead with it, so that the sponsor that is listening to your pitch or reviewing your pitch, in case you don't get to talk to them, they can kind of understand what they potentially will be able to work with. So you gotta want to really think about that, and always really connecting the dots when you're aligning their brand strategy, their goals with your event and the potential event impact that you're going to have. Now, if this has been helpful for you, I would love for you to like and subscribe to this channel. I want to make sure that you also are commenting. I love to hear back from you all to make sure the information is resonating, that you're finding value in it. And if you have questions, I want to be able to create content that's going to be helpful for you and that will answer your specific questions. So feel free to drop a comment below. Feel free to like and subscribe to this channel so you never miss a sponsorship strategy video moving forward in the future. Now, we always drop our videos weekly, so to make sure that you don't miss, hit that notification bell so that you will never miss a video. Now, the third thing here is you want to boldly ask for the commitment. Boldly ask for the commitment. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because it really helps you understand, and it helps your sponsor understand too, that you've really thought about, why you're asking for $10,000 or why you're asking for $50,000. You boldly ask for that, and it's okay to, even for them to say no, because you can't control that. All you can control is your output and how you ask. And I would encourage that you ask boldly, professionally, but you ask boldly, right? Because you believe in the value of the event. You believe in the event's ability to help the sponsor meet their goals. You believe in the event's ability to also serve the greater community. So it's important that you would boldly ask for the dollar amount that you're requesting from a particular sponsor. But it is also important, and I would say probably even greater importance, is that you know why you're asking for a particular dollar amount. And if you go into a meeting with a sponsor and you don't know why you're asking for $50,000 or $100,000 or $25,000 or $2,500, then I would tell you to pause and really think through, why are you asking for whatever amount of money? And like I teach my coaching clients, the clients that are in my course, is that you have to have more of a why than because this is a good cause or because it's going to help the community. That's great, but you got to have a little bit more than that. So be sure to have thought through and reflected on, why does this partner make sense for this event, and why do they make sense at this dollar amount, based on the goals that they said that they wanted and based on the brand and exposure that we're going to give them in exchange. So boldly ask. Now, when you think about how to ask with confidence and close those deals, you can say, based on what we discussed, I love to move forward with X package, with a $50,000 package, because you said this, and this package will be the best package to be able to help you meet the goals of what you mentioned during our first call. You can talk about that. You can make a close and say, would you like to finalize this opportunity, or would you prefer to maybe review the sponsorship opportunity with some internal partners and make a decision? You can figure out what that looks like for you, especially based on the timing in which you reach out to sponsors. Maybe you have some months for them to review, or maybe you don't have that amount of time and you really need to solidify them. I think what works well when it comes to like creating system urgency, especially with your existing sponsors, because you're giving them an opportunity for the first right of refusal to lock in before you open up the opportunity to other potential sponsors that might come on board. And then that sense of urgency is like, hey, we only maybe have one spot as a presenter or exclusive partner. There's only one. Whereas maybe at the lower levels, there's maybe 5 or 7. And if someone wants to really solidify those spots that are less crowded by other brands, they're going to move a little bit more quicker. And because of that sense of urgency and their desire to stand out amongst all the other brands. So that's going to be really, really important. And you want to make sure that you give them the next step. Hey, can I follow up with you in the next 7 days? What does it look like to connect back on a call if we need to work with other decision makers a part of your organization? Or, even just asking them, what would a potential turnaround time look like for us to be able to understand if we'd be moving forward or if we just need to move on to the next brand that we're considering for this opportunity. So you want to give them a next step to work with. And if they need a little bit of time to decide, I would definitely say do not get off that call. Do not stop that email chain until you solidify another follow-up call. And you do that with the way of just saying, hey, is it okay if I follow up with you in the next 5 days, or if I follow up with you next Tuesday, whatever that might look like for you and your schedule. And kind of giving that permission-based, frame it in that permission-based way so that they also have some level of control and opportunity to decide if they want to move forward. Okay, so the lab method is to listen to their needs, wants, and their desires. Align your offers to fit their goals based on what you heard them say in that first conversation. And then boldly ask, but you're boldly asking using the information that you've already gleaned about their marketing goals, their pillars, and the way they like to partner with organizations, to be able to say, hey, based on what you said, this is the best package. And it's okay if it's not the highest package. Go with what they said they needed. The reason being is because when brands know that you have their best interest at heart, they are willing to come back year after year because they know that you're not going to just try to sell them something to make more money. Or you're not just going to try to sell them something that they don't need. I mean, no one likes to be sold something that they don't need. You're right. Like you go to a retail store and you're, going for t-shirts and someone's trying to sell you pants. And it's like, I don't need pants. So why are you trying to sell me pants? Direct me to where I need to go because I need a t-shirt. So the same way with sponsors, there's also a way that you're going to build really solid relationships. So now that you have the lab method, listen, align, and boldly ask, I believe that you're ready to really crush the next sponsorship deal that you're working on. And so if you're wanting to take a deeper dive with me as your coach, as your sponsorship strategist, then I do encourage you to do 2 things. You can either book a call with me and we can talk about solutions and strategy for your upcoming sponsorship event, or you can join the Nonprofit Event Sponsorship Accelerator. Now, this accelerator is a hybrid teaching opportunity where you're coached directly by me. We go through hot seats, but then you're also going through training modules to really understand the full sponsorship sales cycle. You all are selling sponsorships and selling opportunities for brands to be a part of so that you can continue to make the impact in the communities that you're serving. So the Nonprofit Event Sponsorship Accelerator is an opportunity for you to learn from beginning to end how to navigate the sponsorship industry, what to prepare, what to present. We've got templates, resources, checklists, plug and play, things that are just very easy to help you streamline this process and to learn a duplicatable skill that can bring in thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, as my clients have already secured by taking some of these trainings. And so if that is you and maybe you're saying, I'm new to sponsorships, I don't have a lot of knowledge, or maybe you're saying, I've secured some sponsorships before, but I know I've got some blind spots and I know I've got some gaps, then I would encourage you to join the Nonprofit Event Sponsorship Accelerator. It is more than just a course. It is an opportunity for you to also learn from peers. It's an opportunity for you to get direct feedback from me as you navigate this space. And it's also an opportunity for you to close the knowledge gap that you might have and really close up those blind spots that you may not even be aware that you're actually doing that is hindering your progression as it relates to your sponsorship fundraising efforts. So if that sounds like you, I want you to click that link below and go ahead and join the Nonprofit Event Sponsorship Accelerator. Now, I do have a question for you. I want you to drop in the comment, what is the biggest challenge that you've had when it comes to managing your sponsorship? So meaning you've already secured contacts, maybe they've said yes. What is the biggest challenge that you're facing when it comes to managing your sponsorship opportunities and your sponsorship deals? I want to know. Let me know in the chat. I want to be able to help you. And as always, you don't have to stop your learning here. Check out these other videos so that you can increase your knowledge, your impact, and your revenue. See you all in the next video. You have an amazing, amazing day. Bye.